Hey, it's Chris Herbert. Welcome to my Monday morning podcast for September 22nd, 2025. Trying a new way of doing this, maybe a more lazier way of doing this. I'm just going to record this podcast on my iPhone. Not my iPhone, I got an Android, on my mobile phone, and just upload it to YouTube and see how easy it is. I produce quite a bit of content on a weekly basis, so you know, I continue. I want to do this. I want to ramble on. I mean, obviously the goal, is for me to surpass Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast. I mean, what's the chance of that happening? Pretty good, I'd say, in terms of number of viewers and subscribers. But it's part of my way of, understanding how the platform works, how content can be produced, that sort of thing. So I think what I'll do for the going, for the ongoing, from an ongoing perspective, man, it's early in the morning and I cannot speak, is I'm going to talk about some of the things that happened the week before, some of the things that are on my mind, right at the moment, and then anything that's kind of interesting coming up next week. And to see what rattles on my head. Now, I'm really inclined to actually be a little more prepared for these. I'm amazed at how Bill Burr just rattles off stuff, and the things that just pop into his head, that are funny, that keep me engaged, that want me to continue to listen to him. Over an hour. Well, so I don't think they're an hour anymore. Like maybe they're 35, 40 minutes. He's just so he's a very interesting guy. The stuff that comes out of his mouth every week, and he does two a week. He does the Monday one, and then he does a Thursday one, which I think he calls, the Monday morning podcast on a Thursday. Anyway, yeah. So last week was kind of interesting. I was sort of wrapped up in music, in a lot of ways, listening to some great music. I find music very motivating. It's kind of something that is infused in my day to day life. I listen to it to get motivated. It makes me feel good. I like going to live concerts, and I train to it, that sort of thing. And I grew up listening to music. I don't play it, but I grew up listening to it, thanks to my mom. So I had conversations with a bunch of musicians last week, trying to understand, how the music industry works today. If there are any similarities to the way it worked before streaming versus now. And this is all part of an initiative that I'm launching with a squad of folks through Area 81 called A Corp. So more on that in the future, but it's been kind of interesting. In fact, I'm drilling down, trying to figure out how much a certain artist who just went back on tour is making. And this artist has about 600 million views of his, or listens on YouTube Music, and we're figuring out how much money he would have made from those 600 million streams, or views, I guess, or listens on YouTube Music. And then do the same with Spotify, Tidal, and any other platforms that his music streaming on. And this is all really part and parcel to better understand how, a new artist or an independent artist, um, um, how much they're likely to make money on streaming platforms, and how to use those platforms strategically in order to accelerate revenue. The end goal here is to make it so that musicians don't have to have other full-time jobs while they pursue their passions. So it's a question of understanding the industry and coming up with a business model that is geared around accelerating the success of musicians. So working on that. Still training for squash. Obviously, the season starts shortly. My first tournament's in the end of August at Mayfair Lakeshore in Toronto. It's the Ontario Championships. Spending time with my dog. I love going out and playing with her. It's kind of cool because I use these sort of practice golf balls, and I use a chipping wedge, I guess, or a wedge, and I'll hit the ball and she'll run after it and bring the ball back to me. So that's how we play catch, and a lot of fun. Um, there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now, and I don't want to really go into detail about how I feel about things. I just know that we have to believe that that things will get better for all of us. And stay focused in on the things that we know we should focus in terms of our health, our well-being, building our careers, building our businesses, and not let the things that we don't have control of get us down. Very important. Last week I went to an event. It was like what was it, a pizza and puzzles event at Powerlink in Saugeen Shores, and Andrew Hill and his team puts together these monthly events to raise money for one of the Rotary clubs. And basically, it was a competition where you're on a team and you had to try to finish a puzzle within a certain period of time. Lots of fun. Um, Getting out and doing stuff with people and meeting people is so important. We spend so much time looking at screens, whether it be our phones or laptops or computers, or TV screens. I don't feel that we get out enough. Yeah, so I don't know whether want to talk about too much what I'm doing this week, other than moving things forward for A Corp and Area 81 specifically. Of course, A Corp's a venture that we're accelerating through Area 81. We have another entrepreneur, call them exit entrepreneurs. These are the entrepreneurs that have I wouldn't say they're retired or semi-retired, but they've had an exit, so they've got some money and they want to, but they still want to be kind of like they still want to be entrepreneurs. So they'll actually incubate and accelerate an idea through Area 81, put some money into it, and then we'll bring in somebody that can actually do the work for and with that entrepreneur. And we do that deliberately so that the entrepreneur, doesn't have to spend all of his time or her time on his new idea, because they really don't want to at this stage in their, in their journeys. Maybe they want to spend time with their family. They've had a sizable exit, but they still have the entrepreneurial bug, and they obviously want to pursue other ventures, whether it be ideas of their own or help others, that sort of thing. And Area 81 is well positioned to do that. Yeah, so the toughest thing I'm having to deal with right now is being motivated to garden. We have about an acre of land here, and it has to be kept. And we've got trees, and we've got lots of grass, and we've got flower beds and a patio and all that sort of stuff. And I have not cracked that code in terms of how to enjoy working outside. So I'm going to have to crack that code somehow. I love working, and I love being I love hanging out with people, and I love playing squash. I just don't want to garden. Anyway, I don't know what else to say for this week, but thanks for listening. And let's see how this podcast goes. Obviously, I'm just recording it right on my phone. I'm going to get it on YouTube and right away without any other effort. Now, it could be that people that watch this will go, yeah, it's pretty clear there's not been a lot of effort put into this podcast. But part of this experiment is to see, you know, how easy it is to get a piece of content on YouTube, um, and hone my, um, what would I call it? My rambling skills, um, and how I can be engaging by talking to myself, which is kind of what I'm doing. I guess Bill Burr does a great job doing that. He just talks about lots of things that he sees in life, that he observes, things that frustrate him, things that he loves to do, and he's funny about it. So this is kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying to emulate to some degree how he podcasts. Now I have another podcast, The Rural Entrepreneur, which I don't post on YouTube. I post it on Spotify and on the MI6 website, and it's a little more organized and produced, for lack of a better word. Um, yeah, so I think that's it for today. With a bit of luck, I'll have one up next week, and let's see how this one works. Thanks for your time.